look, more trash sculpture. Those are pretty nice, actually.
Yeah.
My day is entirely predicated on the schedule of the Oak Park school system. In the morning, I get up fairly early before my wife and daughter and sit and write in my diary for a little while, and then make breakfast for my daughter, and then my daughter and I ride the bike to school. And then I come back and I work between the hours of 8 and about 2:45 or so, and then I have to go pick up my daughter from school. So I used to work all day and all night long in my 20s or so, but as I've gotten older and as a dad, I just can't do that. Being called an artist is certainly extremely flattering, and it's not anything I necessarily ever expected. There's something about being a cartoonist that seems like an inherently humble sort of activity that I kind of like. It's just me sitting at a table and I do what I do, so I mean, I guess that's one possible route to making what might be called art. I was kind of, not the most athletic or popular kid. So I started drawing comics, I think, because it was a way of both defining myself amongst my peers and also a way of disappearing into myself and sort of protecting myself from them. So, and avoiding physical combat or whatever. That's really the only thing I've ever been able to do is kind of draw. Seemed to me like a miraculous sort of ability. I start every page generally on a piece of board that's approximately about 2 by 3 feet or so. I draw everything in non-photo blue pencil, try to find where the figures are in space in the blue, and then when that is done, I go over those particular emphasized lines in black ink. When this page is photographed, the blue pencil will not appear at all. It will drop away, and all that's left will be the black line. From there, I add in a layer of colors. Generally, each page takes around 40 hours, strangely enough. That's not like I chose 40 hours because it's the work week or something, but it averages out to about that. And a lot of that is just me getting up and walking around, hating myself and feeling uncertain and, giving into dread or, feeling that it doesn't work or rereading or trying to avoid work or any number of things.
I mean, have you ever just woke up one day and thought, God, what am I doing? Is this me?
Every strip, all the lettering that you see is all a product of my hand. But I realized that the real process that goes into comics, it's not pictures with accompanying text. It's a psychological process of reading pictures. It's a symbol system. For a while, I completely quit using words in my comics. I was telling what happened rather than making it happen on the page. Then I became more attuned to then the internal rhythms and the sounds that are created in the mind when one reads pictures only. There's a certain kind of weird, invisible, soundless music that's created. And then when I started reintroducing words into the comic strip, I tried to do it in a more careful way. As far as I'm concerned, the page composition is more important than the individual panels. When I'm composing my pages, the way that the individual panels line up and kind of inform each other is extemporaneous, but there are always things that happen on the page that actually add meaning to the overall structure of the story. When you spend a week on a page, it takes maybe 15 seconds to read. This is the page from a chapter of a very long book I've been working on for a very long time, titled Rusty Brown. I started this in 2001, and I've been working on it more or less steadily ever since, with interruptions for other stories and books and projects. So this first half of the book will be in excess of 300 pages. I like long books. There's something interesting about sitting at a table for a couple of decades working on a book that takes 3 or 4 hours to read. My daughter said recently, "We're weird, Daddy. We don't have anything modern in our house. What's wrong with us?" I tend to arrange and collect things. Maybe that's part of being a cartoonist, is ordering and arranging things. I guess I started getting interested in old toys when I got interested in old comics, and there was certainly a relationship there between the two, and I like looking at the stuff. It was Peanuts that really got to my heart. I feel like Peanuts is the point at which comics really became a medium of emotional connection to readers. Charlie Brown is the first cartoon character for whom you really feel something. Not only do you feel through Charlie Brown, but you feel for him. He's the first empathetic cartoon character. The fact that Charles Schulz was able to put that empathy and sense of connection into a character allowed for my generation then to try to write stories about actual human feelings as opposed to the superhero kind of stuff that we'd grown up with. The whole idea of a serialized comic strip really is endemic to Chicago, starting here with the Tribune. The publishers there very specifically came up with the idea of telling a regular story that readers would get involved in on a daily basis. And everybody paid attention to the Gumps or Gasoline Alley or Little Orphan Annie or something. I sort of feel like I'm kind of part of a tradition. The sort of hominess of the Chicago cartooning at that time appealed to me early on, and I think I kind of now I understand why. There's a real unpretentiousness to the city of Chicago, especially as New York has kind of become the city of the 1%. Chicago has stayed steadfastly the city of the 99%. There's an American honesty to it that I like. Woohoo, got 2 panels drawn. Time for lunch. Yeah. I never expected in any way to make a living doing what I'm doing. I thought I would just be the weird guy working in the art supply store, or the frame shop, or the bakery that people would point to and say, he's the crazy guy working on that long graphic novel for, the past 30 years, which they still very easily could do. I just don't work in a bakery. But I'm certainly grateful for it, but it wasn't what I in any way expected. Well, I certainly can't pretend that it's not a very lucky thing to occasionally get to do a New Yorker cover. In fact, I frequently think I can't believe this is happening. It's really the only periodical publication in America, if not in the world, that respects its artists as artists. You are not told what to do unless you want to be told what to do or you want guidance. Otherwise, your drawing is treated as a single image. All you have to do is make sure that the title, The New Yorker, is on there somewhere. Building Stories was a book that I worked on for 11 years. The story itself revolves around a woman who goes to art school, gives up on art, and then has a family in Oak Park, which is literally the neighborhood that we were in.
Is it really too much to ask for just 1 hour of not being a mom every once in a while? She's his daughter too, for Christ's sakes.
So that's kind of what the book is about the exchanging of one life for the other and the sort of guilt that's associated with that. It came out serendipitously at a time when everybody thought that books were going to disappear and we'd all be reading on little glowing screens everywhere, which fortunately doesn't seem to be the case. People still seem to like books. So it's a box that contains 14 individual pamphlets, books, foldouts, etc., that can be read in any order, designed that way because I think that's more the way that we experience life and remember life. This particular book here is about one day in the main character's life. It's designed like a little golden book. This is represents the memories of her when she's kind of given up on art and art school, living alone in her 20s in the city of Chicago. A book itself is sort of the perfect metaphor for a human being. It's got a front and a back, it's got a spine, and it's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. I think that there's a lot of inner turmoil and conflict, and that's what stories are supposed to be about, is to try to understand that. Way early on, I wanted to try to create stories that got at emotions that felt real, a strip that you weren't sure whether it was supposed to be funny or sad. I'm not trying to depress anybody. I'm just trying to portray what I think it feels like to be alive. That's really the stuff that lasts, whether it's a sense of what it feels like to be alive in a room talking to somebody or alone in a room awash in your own uncertain thoughts. That's really what it comes down to. And I think that as human beings, we can't really be any better or hope for anything better until you can empathize with other people and to try to feel not only for them, but hopefully in a sense even maybe through them a little bit. There's so much storytelling that's not like that it feels like comics are a good place to do it.